There are some jurisdictions that are unlimited, but even those jurisdictions that have unlimited liability, there's still a cap on the amount of insurance that they purchase. And there's different mechanisms in place to take care of that. The liability cap is a cap. So if there's an incident in Canada, the cap is $1 billion. And then the operator is no longer liable. If our federal government felt that it was in the public best interest to top that up, that would have to come from the federal government. And that would depend on the incident, at the time of the loss, and many other factors. Now, with respect to can Jordan join the Canadian pool, it's insurers that join the pool, and we accept insurers that are licensed in Canada. So we won't accept insurers that are not licensed in Canada to write our Canadian risks. But that's the whole point of the pooling system. So a jurisdiction that wants to set up a regime, they should engage the insurers of their jurisdiction to help develop that pooling mechanism within their own jurisdiction. Like, you maybe have a Jordanian insurance company, or XYZ insurance company of Jordan, and those types of companies. That's who your grassroots organization should be. And then you can make arrangements then to work with the rest of the pooling system. And so we do, our pooling system has developed a protocol for these emerging markets, quite frankly, to develop insurance pools in their jurisdictions, and I can put you in contact with the appropriate people to do that.
So if I understand correctly, only insurers can join with you, not the insured, the insurers.
The insurers.
And if they join with you to pool money, they can only pool money with you to the limit of $1 billion, because that's the limit of your activity in Canada. So even if their limit of compensation in their respective country was greater than $1 billion, they could never get more than $1 billion out of the insurers pool that they join with you. Is that correct?
Well, insurers, they commit a certain amount of capacity to the pool,
Yeah.
and they cannot cede that off or reinsure it themselves. It's net line. That's a technical term you really didn't need to know about. But so they reinsure the operators, and if there is an accident, the limit of their liability under the Act is $1 billion. So yes, that's all that people can claim for.
Well, no, I'm
But
talking
then
about...
the government can then top that up. So if there's a $5 billion limit and it is insured, then not just our Canadian pool, but the rest of the pooling system can amass the capacity together to provide that cover.
Now I'm confused.
But not $5 billion. I don't think there's a $5 billion limit in the marketplace. There's about a $3 to $4 billion limit in the marketplace, but that also includes physical damage coverage as well.
So the $1 billion limit is your government-assessed limit on compensation
For
that could occur for
liability.
liability,
For third-party
not
liability.
your amount you could do as an insurance.
For first-party cover on the property. No, that's a different limit. There's liability insurance, and that's third-party, like you have a car, right?
Right.
So you have liability insurance if you happen to hit somebody out on the street. But if you happen to hit your car into another car, that's physical damage coverage. That's called first party
Collision
cover.
damage, right.
Collision, that's first party. So an operator has to have nuclear liability insurance because of the Nuclear Liability Act.
Sure.
But they also may purchase first party or collision coverage, first party physical damage coverage on their asset. With respect to India, I mentioned earlier the different principles of liability and the absolute liability on the operator, so that all the liability flows to the operator, so that the suppliers and anybody constructing and working on the asset will not be and cannot be sued, because the operator is legally and totally strictly liable. In India, they don't enforce that principle. So they've ignored that principle, and they have reasons, and I appreciate their reasons, but it doesn't meet the requirements that are found under the principles of the conventions. And for that reason, insurers can't get their heads around it. Because one thing about insurance, if you cannot quantify your risk, you cannot insure it. And insurers cannot quantify the risk in India because Thank you.